Hola everyone, I'm Miss Betty G. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you guys some of my recent reads. I do feel like the year started off pretty strong. I went through a lot of books in January. February I hit a little bit of a slump. I did have some life distractions going on, so I didn't get to read as much as I would have liked. But then again, I never get to read as much as I would have liked. So for now I do want to share what I have gone through, and also my rating, and also the rating I provided on my Goodreads. So in no particular order, the first book I want to talk about is Yes, My Accent is Real by Kunal Nayyar. I did the audiobook for this, and it was narrated by Kunal himself. He is best known for the Raj character in The Big Bang Theory. This is a very short memoir where he discusses his childhood, his young adult life, and his coming to America to pursue his education and falling in love with theater and acting. He doesn't talk about the show very much, which was a little disappointing for me because I love The Big Bang Theory. He does talk about how he got on the show and how he struggled in his acting career, and he's very silly and very funny in this memoir. I really enjoyed it more than I had anticipated. I do recommend the audiobook for this because, like I said, he narrates it himself and he's very silly, and I feel like it was a little bit more enjoyable because I chose to do the audiobook. For this, I decided to give it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to discuss is The Deal of a Lifetime by Fredrik Backman. This is the first novella that I read by this author. If you have watched any of my previous video, then you will know that I have repeatedly gushed for Fredrik Backman. I have become such a huge fan ever since reading A Man Called Uva. This story takes place during Christmas time, and it is a short story of a father who tries to reconnect with his estranged son. He reaches out to his son and he talks about his recent stay at the hospital where he met a little girl who is dying from cancer. He then talks to him about the opportunity he's been given to try and help save this little girl, but it comes at a very big price. Like I said, this was a very short story, but it packs a very big punch in it. It's a very quick read, and I still had to bring a few tissues out, so I definitely enjoyed this novel. I decided to give this 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to talk about is The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. After watching the hit TV show called Big Little Lies and then reading the novel by the same name, I definitely was in the mood for more Liane Moriarty. So the second book of hers that I've read was The Husband's Secret, and I was a little bit disappointed. I always have a hit or miss when it comes to any kind of mystery thriller type of novel. This was a miss for me. The main character, Cecilia, is a happy housewife, and she unexpectedly discovers a letter that is addressed to her from her husband that should only be opened in the case of his passing. Well, he did not pass, and now she has this letter, so what does she do? Open it. She reads the letter, she finds out this huge secret about her husband, and has to now decide what to do with the knowledge that she has, because knowledge is power, and right now she has a lot of it. In the beginning, I was super into this novel. We have a big mystery, we have a lot of drama, there's a lot of information thrown in right away, but as we keep going, it started to become very predictable, and some of the things that were thrown in there for me had no purpose to the plot of the story or to the ending of the story. It didn't leave me shook in the end, and it kind of left me more pissed off than anything, but I really enjoyed how it started. So for this book, I decided to give it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to talk about is Persepolis 2. This is a graphic novel and memoir that follows the story of Marjane Satrapi from Persepolis 1. Persepolis. In Persepolis, we meet Marjane Satrapi and we follow her childhood in Iran, where she is living during the time of the revolution. So we start off this novel with Marjane Satrapi now in Vienna, getting ready to start high school. We follow her through her teenage years into her young adult life and her keeping a brave face for her family. I thought it was interesting for her to tell her story in a graphic novel, so I really enjoyed it. I really felt for her in this novel. Being able to follow her journey with the images she puts in this graphic novel were very entertaining. You go through it pretty quickly. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to discuss is Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister by Gregory McGuire. This was a book I read with my lovely little book club. This is a retelling of the classic fairy tale Cinderella in the perspective of one of the ugly stepsisters. This was a very interesting version of Cinderella. I went in thinking I knew how the story was going to play out, but it was very different completely. There is all kinds of magic in there and nothing close to bubbly as a fairy godmother who bibbity bobbity boops and takes you to a ball. It is a little bit more intense and it is more gruesome than the fairy tale that we all know and love. So I would go in there very open-minded if you decide to read this book, but I really enjoyed it. My book club really enjoyed it. There were some parts in there that were a little frustrating. There were some things that I wish would have been different, but then again, we can't always get it our way. It was an enjoyable read and I decided to give this 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to talk about is Britt-Marie Was Here by Fredrik Backman. I'm so obsessed with him. This is the story of my tia Britt-Marie, who is a 60-year-old woman who is reinventing herself after separating from her husband and being on her own for the first time in her life. Britt-Marie is a very interesting character. She is a very literal person. She does not understand sarcasm and she's not a very social person. When she's in a social situation where she doesn't know what to do, she resorts to cleaning. So she comes to this small town that is slowly dying due to a financial crisis. She starts to break out of her shell, and it was definitely very entertaining to see the character development in this novel, to follow her in this journey. You definitely go through so many emotions. You are sad for her, you feel awkward with her, you get angry at her. You definitely go through so many emotions with her, but it is worth the roller coaster of a ride that this is. For this, I decided to give it 5 out of 5 stars. The last book I want to talk about is called Where They Found Her. I did the audiobook for this and I really enjoyed it. This definitely kept me at the edge of my seat. This is the story of a small town in New Jersey where an infant is found dead one winter night in a prestigious university campus, where we follow the perspectives of 3 different women whose lives unexpectedly intertwined with the death of this child, and we try to uncover what happened and who is responsible for this child's death, and most importantly, who does this child belong to. There is no clues, there's no witnesses. Like I said earlier, I'm always a hit or miss when it comes to thrillers, but this one really had me. I kept thinking I knew what was gonna happen. In my mind, I solved the case 100 times, but then we got this new piece of information and it's like, no, it's this guy, no, it's that guy, no, it's this guy, no, it's that girl. It was a roller coaster of a ride and I love this novel, which is definitely a surprise for me with this genre. For this, I decided to give it 5 out of 5 stars. That's going to be it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of these books. Let me know what your thoughts were on my thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you want to discuss any of these further, please follow me on my social media and feel free to message me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and hit the notification bell. Until the next time, happy reading, friends. Adios!